Look, there's no question that we are winning big, and we are very confident of winning the BJP plus 100 plus seats on which we have based our campaign slogans. The reason for that is quite clear. In fact, you can see every single opinion poll that has come out by different TV channels, newspapers, polling organizations. Every single one gives us victory. Basically, I will sum it up by emphasizing our three planks for the election: Suraksha, Samriddhi and Sanskriti. In Suraksha, the law and order situation has dramatically evolved in general and also in terms of militancy. The Bodo Accords which were not being implemented have now been updated and implemented. Large number of remaining militants have laid down their arms and have got into the mainstream. The infiltration, which has been an issue in Assam for decades, has been seriously reduced because of very rapid border fencing and electronic fencing on the riverbanks which can't be fenced physically. So that is Suraksha. In Samriddhi, I've talked about all the development. Sanskriti is very important because, again, this is part of the Assam politics and agitations for many decades, that Assam was being swamped by immigrants, mostly illegal, and by the overwhelming of its authentic culture. So what this government has done in terms of a renaissance of Assamese culture, in terms of the renovation and the sprucing up of the Namghars, the Namghar Yojana for instance, these are all very, very important steps. It is very odd for Congress to talk about polarization when they have openly now aligned with Badruddin Ajmal and the UDF. Now, this is very important because Badruddin Ajmal and the UDF are an openly communal party, and they were formed because of the repeal of the IMDT Act. They are associated with the infiltrators demographic. First of all, CAA is not an issue in this election. A year and a half ago, when some people were agitating against CAA, they were misrepresenting and putting out disinformation in many ways. Two are very important. These people were alleging that CAA is meant to expel Indian Muslims. Nothing could be further from the truth. This is a blatant falsehood. It has nothing to do with any Indian of any religion. Secondly, they were misrepresenting, and you are aware of this, they said this openly, that through CAA, 15 million people will come in from a neighboring country to help change the demographic here. That's also a blatant falsehood because CAA has a cutoff of more than 5 years ago. Nobody can come in prospectively. And nobody has come in. You go around and show me one person who has come in because of CAA in the last 1 year. Not only that, the infiltration has gone down dramatically, as I was pointing out. So what has happened, you can spin a disinformation and a lie for temporary benefit, but you can't sustain it for long. So those people who are agitating, for over a year, they have not been able to sustain that disinformation. As a result, this is no longer a burning issue. It has petered out. It is not a factor in this election. We have certainly referred to the indigenous tribes and their empowerment. So please go through the manifesto in detail. Let me explain though. Let me explain. There is a process in all these important issues. It goes through, there has been a commission that has been set up. Now here also there is an irony. Some of the people who are trying to rake up this issue are the ones who delayed the commission. They opposed the commission when it was set up. And that caused the initial delay. Now the commission has to go through its hearings. It has to go through the process at the national level. It has to go to parliament. So BJP is transparent about this. There is a lot of disinformation, and it is important for platforms like you to deconstruct and provide the facts to your viewers. As you know, and as anybody who has studied the issue knows, that it is not a BJP government who implemented this. It was a Supreme Court order to implement the NRC, and in fact the process also was monitored by the Supreme Court. It's not as if a BJP government monitored, and there were errors that came out. Everybody has commented on that. The BJP has said very clearly that, see, every democracy has a national register of citizens. You have it in Europe, you have it in other countries, so also India has it. And this has a legacy of earlier governments who have entered into agreements. So our commitment is that there must be fairness and there must be equity. No Indian citizen of any background should be put at risk of their citizenship because of a faulty process. And similarly, no non-Indian citizen should be able to claim Indian citizenship without due process. So we are committed to it, and since this is a Supreme Court monitored process, we are committed to stand up for a fair and equitable process for NRC. We had a couple of people who were not happy, but the vast majority of our Karyakartas, including those who are aspirants, have taken this in the right spirit. Look at what is happening on the opposite side. After the ticket distribution happened, at Congress Bhavan, you had physical rioting for almost 10 days. It did not settle down. A very large number of their people have either quit, have joined us, or are in any case rebelling. So you must put this in context. In our case, I would say 98% of the candidates have gone off smoothly without any resistance. At most 1 or 2% have had some issues. Now, this is also understandable because everybody talks about this BJP, pro-BJP mahol, and we are sweeping to power. So it is understandable that there are more number of aspirants. But we are the only party that emphasizes a hierarchy of priorities. Nation first, party second, individual or family third. Now the other parties where you have 10 times the number of disturbances, they have family first, party next, nation third. So I will put it this way. I am personally monitoring, as you rightly said, I've been Prabhari for the BJP for Assam for about 3.5 months, and I've been staying here for 3 months. I have traveled extensively all over Assam on the ground and to various parts. We continuously do surveys, and one of the feedback that I have got is that the candidate selection has been exceptionally good. The issue that you raised is something that a very desperate opposition is trying to rake up. Now, we have a sitting chief minister. We have a government. We have other senior leaders. Now, when we didn't have a government, this is our culture, by the way, that when we have a sitting chief minister and a government, we don't reopen the issue, we don't project anybody. Only when we don't have a government, like 5 years ago, we had projected Sarbanand Sonowalji, but now he is the chief minister. So we don't reopen this issue. This is our existing practice for 40 years or more. But some people are trying to twist this as if there is some issue. Now, under the leadership of Sarbanand Sonowalji, a lot has happened, good governance has happened. Others have contributed. You mentioned Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma. He's a very important senior leader. He works tirelessly. He is very competent administratively. He has focused on implementing these government schemes throughout the length and breadth of Assam. So we are very lucky that besides Sarbanand Sonowalji, we have Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma ji, we have other leaders also. We have a former speaker who is the president of the party, who also campaigns all over the state. So this is not an issue. Every BJP Karyakarta, from top to bottom, is, see, anybody can have their own aspirations, and there's nothing wrong with that. But every BJP Karyakarta is committed to the idea that they have to focus on these in the order of priorities that I explained. Nation first, which means state first, party next, individual third.
So on May 2nd, we'll know who will be the Assam's next chief minister.
Again, you are trying to, I think you are falling into the manufactured controversy that some people...
We are here to ask questions.
Yes, you should ask and I will answer. You must let me answer also. So, the opposition is trying to manufacture this controversy where it doesn't exist. As I have explained, this is our practice. When we have a sitting chief minister and an existing government, we don't go into the issue of whom to project. The Congress and the UDF and their allies, they must answer, because the Congress doesn't seem to have a CM face. Since the passing of the late Tarun Gogoi ji, it seems to be in different factions. I don't see a unified leader. The most prominent face they have got is Badruddin Ajmal. So it is important to ask that are they projecting Badruddin Ajmal as their CM face, because they seem desperately embarrassed by alliance with him in most of Assam, but they are okay with the alliance with him in certain parts of Assam. So you must equally ask them, is Badruddin Ajmal your chief minister candidate? Even if they are embarrassed, they should answer. As committed, as promised by us, we have more than doubled the wages just now, and this happened before the Code of Conduct went into effect, which is a perfectly legitimate time frame. It is perfectly legitimate for government to take these decisions. Now, the Congress is trying to create an artificial discord by telling tea tribe workers that this is a fake promise, you will not get the increased wages. That's what you're talking about. Now, this is not a promise, it's already a government decision which will be implemented. A government decision cannot not be implemented. So, this cynicism of trying to mislead people because they think people are not educated enough or not smart enough. This is a Congress strategy. It will not withstand scrutiny. We are ensuring that everybody understands that this is not a promise, this is already implemented. They will get the wages. Now you can give any nomenclature, you can call it national, international, anything. The reality is that there are certain ways to mitigate and to minimize the damages of floods. This is what BJP is committed to. Earlier governments, their track record of development is very poor. Their track record of converting promises to actions is very, very poor. Our track record is very good. And, cutting down the impact of flood on the lives of people is it's doable. It requires dredging so that the water flow happens smoothly, it doesn't go into the plains. It requires water flow management with reservoirs or check dams. There are other methods of doing it. We are already seeing it happen in other parts of the country where you also have floods. My feedback from both my own experience, and I have gone to dozens of constituencies on the ground and spoken to party workers, spoken to citizens, spoken to media, and also by the surveys and the analysis that we do. The pro-incumbency environment means that people generally are commenting that yes, there has been a lot of development, and so they will expect development to continue. In fact, we will speed it up because there is a ground floor of development that is required, which is mostly infrastructure, before you can do other kinds of development. So the general expectation of people is there will be development. They have also noticed the improvement in security. They have noticed the improvement of law and order. They have noticed the improvement in no communal riots in last 5 years. So they are satisfied with that, and I think they expect that under BJP that will continue. That the development under BJP is not discriminatory. It does not discriminate against any religion, any caste, any creed. So I think they are beginning to realize and have internalized that BJP does provide good governance, and there will be more of the same.